Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and let's talk about what I'm currently reading, what books I've required, and what I hope to read. First, I did finish, the most recent books I finished were the audiobook of A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I have decided I'm going to continue with the series and just listen to it on audio instead of going out and rebuying the books. I'm just gonna, those covers are actually, I'm starting to like them. They're definitely growing on me. I used to prefer the original covers, and my cousin who got into the series actually got off of Facebook Marketplace the books with the original covers on them. Which got me, I thought that was really cool that she was able to get those. But the other ones are starting to grow on me a little bit. And I also was kind of like, I noticed that the Court of Wings and Ruin, the color of their cover, that blue color, I was like, well, why didn't they make A Court of Mist and Fury that color? Because the original cover was a dark blue. But then I think the Court of Wings and Ruin, I'm trying to remember what color that cover was. The whole color system for the original covers, it wasn't working. So I noticed that they had to change the color scheme of the covers, the new ones. Because I was like wondering why wasn't Mist and Fury blue, but then I realized that, of course, Frost and Starlight was blue, a lighter blue, but still blue. So it was like maybe they don't want them to be the same color. They're different shades. But yeah, I also listened to that one too. I know. And also, I remember what I was thinking. It was actually A Court of Mist and Fury was that teal color, which was the original cover for A Court of Wings and Ruin. For the original covers with you see Freya on there. You don't see her whole face, but you see like half of her body and half her face, and she's wearing a cool dress. But that was A Court of Wings and Ruin was that teal color originally, and then they had to change it to a pink and made Court of Frost Starlight the blue color, and Wings and Ruin, and in Court of Mist and Fury was the teal color. I remember that's where the confusion, because originally they couldn't make Mist and Fury and Wings and Ruin the same color, so they had to make that one pink. So that whole process is so confusing. But anyway, so I listened to that, finished that one, and I'm going to be getting A Court of Frost and Starlight soon, and I'm definitely prepared because I heard there's some stuff in there, because I think it's a bunch of short stories or novellas, and it's a little more lighthearted in the day-to-day lives. I don't even know there's much of a conflict in there. I think there is still conflict, like with Nesta, I think, and her being her usual difficult self. Because I think Freya, kicks her out or something. I think, at least from what I hear. And then I'm in the middle of, I picked up quite a few books that I'm in the middle of, but then I was feeling anxious about having one finished before the end of the month. So, it's something I am really working on. It's something I'm really working on, but I just can't help it. I like the idea of having something at least finished so I can talk about it and write it down, or I should say, type it. Because I don't write it. I actually, when I list the books I've read for the month, I type them in a Word document. So I did pick up this one. Not this whole book, but the second story in this collection. It's this is the Rhyria Revelations Volume 2. So Volume 1 is Theft of Swords, and that they have it where they have two novellas in one volume, and I finished the second one, literally last night, which was the Emerald Storm. And if you read the other ones and you want to read, I think you would like this one, especially if you're into seafaring adventure stories. It's not exactly pirates, although there is a character that was a pirate originally, which I think he was the character that was mentioned in one of the previous ones. And In this one, Royce and Hadrian have to stop an old friend from causing trouble for the Imperialist. I think it's the Imperialist. I think the Nationalists are their enemy. I think they are the Imperialists, I think. Unless it's the other way around. Which, if it's the other way around, then I got it wrong on my review when I typed my review on Goodreads. I mean, if someone corrects me, then I will apologize and I'll fix it. But so, and Princess Arista continues to get to do more stuff. Like, she gets to go on a rescue mission. She uses more magic in this one, and really continues to come to her own and, make her own place in the world. And she's also, like, really learning from her mistakes and learning that she, isn't gonna, she sometimes needs a little help. And sometimes she makes impulsive decisions. And of course, once again, the only thing I didn't like was that once again we had the character that was revealed to be in love with her. And she has this revelation of, yes, I appreciate him and his comfort and being, I'm lonely and I miss home and everything. But I don't love him, and I just realized that. I mean, they did that in the last one with another character, and it was like, oh, here we go. I mean, I'm sure she's beautiful, but it's like, okay, can she get with someone that is permanent, that she'll actually love? There is someone I'm rooting for her to end up with, though, by the end. I mean, they haven't got a lot of time together, but there are little things here and there where it makes me kind of ship them together. Little moments where other characters notice some things. But yeah, this was really fun, and it has the usual witty banter from these two, Royce and Hadrian, but there's still some drama. There's a character that might have betrayed them and sold them out to Merrick. But you kind of, when you find out who the character is, you kind of on some level understand their motivation and why they were easily swayed to helping Merrick. You can kind of understand where they're coming from, and it's like you can get why Merrick was able to convince them, oh, I can help you, or, oh, you better help me, or this is going to happen if you don't. But these books are so much fun. Now, I'm probably not going to continue. I did have a copy of the copies of the prequel series, but I ended up donating them because I decided, I'm not going to continue. Yes, I have fun with the series, but I don't need to continue. And I've also heard some mixed opinions. Like, yeah, there are people's opinions, and there's a chance I might not feel the same way if I read them. Like, I might love them, I might hate them, I don't know, but I just don't feel the desire to continue after this one, to read the prequel or the, I think the end one's a sequel series that he's working on. I mean, maybe one day if I find an audiobook or something, maybe I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to go buying them. Even though I did own them at one time. So, there's that. And then, the other book that I've read the most of so far is Wizard and Glass. So, I figured, once I finished The Wastelands, to go ahead and jump into this immediately, so I did, and I've been reading it in bed. Although when I was trying to finish, Rise of Empire, I put this one down for a little bit and finished that one. And that was a situation, for me, if I don't jump into series right away, and if I wait too long, there's always the risk that it might take me a year or two before I get to the next book. That's been happening with Wheel of Time, and that's what I was worried with Rhyria Revelations. I did consider that, and that's why I thought immediately I want to jump to the next book, The Era of Navron. But also I was just excited to read it, at that moment. Once I finished this, I was like, I immediately wanted to jump into the next book. But I haven't yet, and maybe I'll wait until April, because, we only have a week left of the month, I think. So, I am reading this one, and, so, I started watching The Last of Us, and also I'm watching, The Mandalorian, Season 3, and I was just thinking, Pedro Pascal, if they adapted this, part of me pictures him playing the part of Roland. I could see him doing it. especially because like Mando or Din Djarin. I don't want to say Mando because then people will correct other fans will correct me if I don't say his actual name. Din Djarin and Joel remind me of Roland in ways. That serious, protector that's, very rough and like, very stern, but still, has an affectionate side that they try to hide. It makes me, both characters make me think of Roland. So I keep picturing Pedro Pascal as the character of Roland now as I'm reading it. And they reference The Stand. I think they're, because I've read enough of The Stand to recognize the reference. And they also, of course, bring back the Charlie the Choo Choo book at one point with where the location they're at right now. But so far this is really good. Very, and now we're getting to the chapter where Roland gives them his history with Susan and everything in the next chapter. Like, so, and I don't know if the whole book, like, I think the first part, it looks like the first part that I just read all that stuff. Let me check something. Sorry, I want to double check. Okay, yeah, so the part where they were still on Blaine, riding on Blaine, was the prologue. And then, part 1 was them, riddling. I need to check something. Sorry, I just want to double check something. Because, like, oh, wait, that's right. I was looking at the way it's set up, I forgot. Like, you have, which is kind of what, both Dostoevsky and, Tolstoy do with their books. I guess I should say, because I think they're both long dead. Dividing their books up in parts. In this one, so I was like, the second part, it says chapter 1, I was like, wait a second. But no, it's because it's chapter 1 of this second or third part, where we're learning about Susan. Which I'm very excited to, part 2. Yeah, it is part 2. Which I'm very excited to get to. I heard that's one of the major things I heard was in the book. And this book is the whole Susan, learning about Susan and who she is to Roland and how she was his great love, I think. But yeah. So I really hope that I would love for this to be an actual TV show that they do justice. But I'm very wary about adaptations lately because, like, seems like a lot of adaptations of big epic fantasies have not gone well. It depends on the network it's on or the streaming service it's on. Like, HBO Max seems to do pretty good, and I think this would be perfect for HBO Max, especially because, Stephen King is a little more, very much more mature and very vulgar, and just, there's a lot of content here that's, like, it would be better off on HBO than anything, so, this would be great. I think if they adapted this as a TV show instead of just a movie, TV show would work the best. I mean, HBO would work the best for this. So I'm currently reading that, and I guess I can't really talk about this because I don't know if you guys are reading the series and if you read book 3, so it's hard to talk about this one. Like, unless I make it clear that the video is a review, which is not a review, obviously. This is actually just updating you on my reading and how it's going. So I did read a little bit more of the Luminaries as well. I finally picked that book up again, and you have, a character is trying to, I cannot remember his name, is trying to figure out this, how this guy was murdered. He has suspicions about who did it, and he asked the Maori guy, who was his friend, the murder victim's friend, he asked him and he calls him Ted, by the way. I thought that was so funny that he's so disrespectful to the Maori guy and doesn't even try to say his name. Like, he maybe tried once. So he's like, oh, I'm just going to call you Ted. Like, he doesn't, he's so condescending and just, like, the guy, I can't remember his name. This is not me I just don't remember the name. I have to look at the name. The Maori guy, again, I just don't remember the names of all the characters. He tries to explain to him, what he thinks happened, or just tells him what he knows. And the other guy's like, oh, it was this guy, wasn't it? Like, and it just makes me think, first of all, you're being so rude to this guy. You're not even bothering trying to say his name correctly. And second of all, I'm hoping that he's wrong and he looks like an idiot. Like, because I feel like him automatically saying, oh, I bet it's this guy. I knew it. Because he doesn't even let the other guy say his opinion. He's like, oh, yeah, so, yeah, that's exactly what I think, assuming that he's going to say, I think it's this guy. And we have a couple of interesting interactions with characters. This is definitely one of those stories where you have all these things going on, and you don't know how they're connected to each other. Like, you'll probably, I don't know how they're connected yet. But I'm guessing they are connected somehow, and they're all linked. I guess the murder of this guy is what brings all these different, because it feels like they're just separate stories, like different characters interacting, and they don't have anything to do with each other, at least just yet. But I'm definitely intrigued about, because I feel like there's definitely connection. They're all connected in some way. And of course, like, there's the gold rush, and the guy, the murder victim, he had a lot of money, and there's this whole, like, where is his money, and who took it, and that kind of thing. So it's definitely intriguing. It's just, there's a lot going on. It feels like a Dickens novel with all these plot threads going on, and you're just waiting for them to all connect. But yeah, this is good. I need to get back to it. And actually, now is the perfect time to read this, because I am off for several days. So now I definitely should pick it up, because I brought it with me for my 15-minute break, and the problem with that is I only get 50 minutes. So I don't get to read. I don't have a lot of reading time, and I'm thinking about, I gotta make sure I'm done and heading downstairs and clocking back in right at this time. And I still fail to do it, but I've never gotten in trouble. No one ever had, because it's usually only by a few minutes where I'm, like, not right on time. And maybe they probably expect us to not be exactly on time anyway. And then there's a TV that they'll have on the break room, and I'm not going to be like, excuse me, I'm reading, can you turn that down? I'm not going to do that, because I feel like that would be rude. And then the other thing is, like I said, one of the things that bugs me, some people are like, oh, I want to know what you're reading, but I'm not the person who can just be like, shh, I'm reading. I can't do that, because then I feel like I have to explain myself, or I feel bad about it, and it's like, even though I wanted to, part of me wants to be like, shush, I don't want to be interrupted, I can't do that. I mean, sometimes I can do that with my dad, because he knows I don't mean it in a mean way, it's just because he likes to tease me and mess with me about it anyway, so he knows I don't mean it in a, like mean kind of way. He just knows, but with my peers at work, it'd be like, are they worried, will I have to explain myself to them, will I hurt their feelings, and of course afterwards, like, I'm not very good at hiding it via my face when I'm annoyed sometimes, and a lot of times, and Jesse, one of my coworkers, he said something like he knew, okay, you don't want to be bothered, and he was like, explain that he just was asking, so of course I have to explain myself and be like, well, I don't want to be rude, but I also don't want to be interrupted while I'm reading, and I'm like, I tried to explain to him my reasoning, because I always feel like I have to explain to someone. But yeah, so there's not a lot of reading time. It probably would have been smarter if I had brought Wizard of Glass, because maybe I could get through a little bit more and not be as, feeling like, okay, I'm confused. What did I just read? Because this is a dense book and there's a lot of stuff going on. And even though it's a big print and it's not like not like in a foreign language or something that I don't know, it's still, it's still kind of, hard to follow along when I'm not completely concentrating. So, because like I said, there's a lot of plot threads going on throughout. So I'm currently reading that. I did bring, I did attempt this one as well. Continue with this one on the Karenina. I don't know if it's Karenina or Karenina. But I did read a little bit of this, not recently, but a couple days ago. I did, but I didn't get very far. I just got to where what is his name? Everyone's favorite. Levin he's been trying to really get into working with peasants and working his land, and he's very critical, and he notices that the peasants are kind of annoyed with him, and he's just thinking about, he feels bad that he's annoying them, but he also really cares about this, and he really wants to, make sure that his land is, his crops are good, and he's also meanwhile thinking about, stressing over Kitty being still around and close by, and he's like, I can't go see her because I'm so emotional about it, and I don't want to deal with that, because I know I'm going to get angry, and that wouldn't be fair to her, so he's like thinking about that, stressing about that. He might, too bad Dora is married, because I think they would have been better together. They understand each other a little bit better. But she's already married, so. Although her sister's having an affair. Anna's having an affair, so why not her? I don't think she will, though. I'm guessing she won't, though. And then today, because I had finished the Emerald Storm, that's the book 4 in the Library of Revelations. I did go ahead and pick up this one, but I only read the first chapter because, I was still kind of tired. And then on top of that, we were, in the car, and, when it's sunny with a lot of trees, sometimes it can be irritating because, the sun slipping through the trees, it can make it, dark, sunny, or sunny, shadow, and it's just sometimes hard to concentrate on what I'm reading. And then, I'm tired, so I lose concentration then. And then, of course, when I get out of the car, it's not like I can, read while I'm walking to the store or something. So I only have got through only read some of the first chapter where Min has gone to the White Tower to talk to the Amarillion Seat, and at first she gets a little, people, the other Aes Sedai are like, why would you want to talk to you? You can wait, you can talk to us instead. You don't need to, bother the Amarillion Seat. But she she insists. So, and while she's going through the White Tower, being escorted to the Amarillion Seat, she sees all these visions of all the rest of the Aes Sedai, and they're gonna all die and stuff, so she's worried about that. And then she runs into Elaine's older brother, who's being Mr. Overprotective, and oh my god, the guys drive me crazy in this book. They're so overprotective, and he, Min realizes that he doesn't take the whole his sister Elaine being an Aes Sedai, he doesn't take it very seriously, and he doesn't realize how much power she has. That's what, Min notices that, and, it's a caught between where he, he cares about his sister and he loves her, but he's also being a little bit overprotective and treating her like she's very incapable and just a child, and she's clearly not, Unfortunately, I don't remember what happened in the last book exactly, so I would have to, go back, which actually I could probably find some videos on here, on BookTube, that explain what happens in each book, so I can get a refresher, instead of having to read it, looking up on the, so I think I should see if I can find that, so I can get a summary of what each book is about. I mean, if the worst case scenario is I have to look up something to read, on a Wikipedia or something on here on each book. But ideally, I would love to find someone's video that explains what happens in each book. Like someone like Danielle Green or Jay from Caption Words, they might have something. Like, I know that Jay from Caption Words, he did do a video where he basically summed up what happened in The Way of Kings. I did watch it when I attempted to start it over again with it the second time. It's another one I need to finish and pick up again. But anyway, so there's that. So like I said, I don't have a lot to say except for, Min is trying to explain explain her fears to the Emeraldian Sea, and she's frustrated. Which, yeah, some of the Aja are, I definitely can understand why I don't trust them, but not all of them are bad. Like, it's one of these things where I feel like they got a bad rep because some of the bad scenes in that group. But that's the thing about religious, groups that have religious intonations. I feel like sometimes they can get a little too enjoying their power and making themselves a little too intimidating to the point of people don't like them or don't trust them. So that's all my reading right now. Now let's talk about my what I've hauled. So I do so let's see. First we have books I got from BAM and Barnes & Noble, because we went to my dad went up to Bass Pro Shop, so he dropped me off at the closest Barnes & Noble to hang out there. So I got a book from Barnes & Noble. I only got one book, because my plan was at every beginning of the month, the first books I purchased would be at the either thrift books online, which I'm trying to get back into doing every other month with those online purchases. So thankfully March is almost over as far as that goes, and so I can make another purchase online on thrift books or Amazon soon. But I ended up it's either that or go to the roast office down the one in walking distance. But I ended up not going there. I ended up going to Books A Million first. And I got a book that these two books I had my eye on earlier last month. But I decided not to pick them up. So I picked them up this month. This is the one from Books A Million. This is The Belated Faith. And I almost, the time before that when I looked at these, I almost got the second one, but then I saw it was the second one, so I put it down. So this time I remembered to make sure to pick up the first one and not the second one. So this is the Vagrant God Series, which I appreciate that, but I know that it's probably really hard to come up with a good title that is eye-catching, that sounds really good. And it's just easier to maybe pick a title that ends up being the name of the first book in a series. But it still kind of is a pet peeve of mine when the authors do that, and I still kind of think it's a little lazy. But I do get that it's very hard to come up with a good title that really catches people's attention and really encompasses the whole series. I get that, but on the other hand, I still think it's kind of lazy. I do like that George R. R. Martin, the original title of the books were A Song of Ice and Fire, but I also get that Game of Thrones is a little more catchy of a title. So it works for the show. I like that the show was called that. So, this first book is The Belated Faith by David Dalglish. And I'm going to go ahead and just read the back because I don't remember. Okay, so the tagline is, "Every shadow hides a truth. Every hero hides a lie. A usurped prince will take them up the mantle of a deadly assassin to reclaim his kingdom, his people, and his slain gods." And the explosive start to a USA Today bestseller, David Dalglish's new epic fantasy trilogy. The good news is only a trilogy, thankfully. I don't know the third one. Like I said, I've only seen the second one. Cyrus was 14 when this country was invaded. his gods slain and his parents, the king and queen, beheaded in front of him. After years held prisoner in the invader's court, a mysterious group of revolutionaries breaks him free and gives him the chance for revenge. Which, this actually kind of reminds me of the description of The Rage of Dragons. Because again, it's a character that wants revenge because his loved ones were murdered. A mysterious group of that he's always dreamed of. In exchange, he will become the figurehead of their rebellion. He will become a hero to unite the people and strike fear in the hearts of the Imperials. He will take up the skull mask and twin swords and become the legendary Vagrant, an unparalleled assassin of otherworldly skill. But not all as it seems. Creating the illusion of a hero is the work of many, and Cyrus will soon discover the true price of his vengeance. Dun dun dun. So it's like, it reminds me also of Hunger Games a little bit. With like a character that has to, or the red, what was it? Mike from Mike's Book Reviews keeps talking about the series. He's in fact rereading it, but I can't think of what it's called. It's something red. The one that did the sci-fi series. The more times I hear Mike talk about it, the more I'm tempted. And Patrick too talks about it as well, and so now I'm thinking about getting from the library. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure I knock out a lot of my own books before I start getting books from the library, because I know I'm going to get more than one, and focus on those so I can return them sooner rather than later. So it's very stressful to have to pick, narrow that down. But so this sounds like a lot of other books where I haven't read them, but I've read the description. Well, I did read the Hunger Games. So, but I'm definitely gonna pick this one up soon. This one was from BAM, and then the other one was The Starless Crown. And actually, when I was looking at it, because I was like, oh, I remember I saw that at BAM last time. Maybe I should pick it out. And then one of the women working there noticed I had that. And she was like, oh, that's a really good book. So that kind of was a deciding factor for me. And again, I don't remember what it's. So I'm reading the back. Because like I said, I don't remember enough to explain it to you guys. So, who will claim the Starless Crown? A gifted student foretells an apocalypse. Her reward is a sentence of death. Fleeing into the unknown, she is drawn to a team of outcasts. A broken soldier who once again takes up the weapons he's forbidden to wield and carve a trail back home. A drunken prince who steps out from his beloved brother's shadow and claims a purpose of his own. An imprisoned thief who escapes the crushing dark and discovers a gleaming artifact, one that will ignite a power struggle across the globe. On the run, hunted by enemies old and new, they must learn to trust each other in order to survive in a world evolved in strange and beautiful and deadly ways, and uncover ancient secrets that hold the key to their salvation. But with each passing moment, doom draws closer. And the second one is called The Cradle of Ice. But yeah, as soon as a story has multiple characters and each is kind of like has their own dark past, that usually gets my attention. That's the kind of trope that I get excited about, when a story that does, where each character has their own story, like it's a group of characters coming together and then each have their own dark past and everything. And that's, you got that a little bit with The Shadow of What Was Lost, where you have some characters that are introduced that there's their dark past. Although one of them he doesn't remember, and one of them he does know who he is, but he can't tell anyone else, or he couldn't for the longest time. So yeah, this was the ones I got with Barnes & Noble. I saw this at BAM, and I saw the sequel, and I decided not to get it the first time I saw it, but this time when I was at BAM, Barnes & Noble, I was like, I'm gonna get it. And actually, I think what made it easy for me to make a decision is because first one, when I go to Barnes & Noble, since I don't go that often, I only go if it's in that area if we take a trip up there. So I'm always like, oh, I want to get a new one. You know, I don't want to get one from an ongoing series. So, and that Barnes & Noble is being moved to a new location. So there were a lot of books, a lot of first books in series that were gone. And they were series I had not read yet. So it made it easy to pick it made it easy to narrow it down on what I chose, because this was one of the few books that it was the first book. And then, you know, some of the other ones were books that were part of series that I did read the previous books. But like, so when I go to Barnes & Noble, I always want to get a new book that I haven't explored yet. So both these sound really cool and really good. And here's the thing, whenever I talk about these books on here, I get excited about them all over again. I immediately want to pick them up now. So let me show you one more. I gotta show you this book, and then I'll show you the books I got. The books I got today. So let's show you the one I got the other day. So this is an author that I heard about from I wish I remember her first name. What's her first? I don't remember her first name, but her channel is Bookish Princess. And I love her vlogs. She's always such a cheerful, fun person, very down to earth, just very sweet. She's like a Disney princess incarnate. And she loves Disney, of course. And she goes every year. They have a yearly spring visit to Disney World. And she does these amazing vlogs, vlogging her trip, and then her vlogs about what she's reading. And she talked about this author, and I've been wanting to check them out. But I hadn't had much luck, because they're an older author. And I don't even know if she still is alive, or is still writing books. I have to look that up. I don't even know if she's an American author or a British author, but I know when I look on thrift books, I have seen her books, but then other people grab them before I do, or they're a copy of the book that I don't want, or they're out. And now there's possibly Book Depository, so I could go on there as well. And I think Book Depository also, I noticed in someone else, one of you guys mentioned it in a comment on my video, that on one of my other videos, that Book Depository is a great place for finding like UK editions and stuff like that of books that are, you know, not like Amazon, where you can, you know, honor used books. And my dad had to go up to the area there was a particular store that was close to the Black Castle Books, and I haven't been there in a while. Now, I was not able to bring in books to be donated because that you have to call them in advance, and the woman that was there did tell me that they're not taking anything right now. So, and I did notice that she did point out they have a whole pod, you know, one of those pods that, you know, where you, people that are moving, they can put their stuff in there, like their bigger stuff, like their furniture and stuff. She had one of those, and she said it was full of books. So they're not taking anything right now. And when I was in there were piles of books on the floor anyway. So yeah, I could tell. Yeah, they have a lot. And their selection was kind of sparse. I mean, it wasn't, like, it was full, but it wasn't, like, I noticed their fantasy section was lacking, and they had more mass markets than anything, and like I said, I'm not a big mass market person anymore, because, you know, like I said, they're cute, and they're easy to read and easy to travel with. They're very cheap, but you get what you paid for. You know, and it's not like they're not crap or anything, but, you know, it's still, like, I feel like they're a little bit more fragile than some of the newer books. Like a book like this. Like, a mass market of, like, this is not gonna be as sturdy. Not that I throw my books around or anything, it's just, I kind of like these, I like these a little bit better. Like, I feel more secure with these. You know, so... And I don't have to worry about, because I do work, because before, when I was younger, I didn't have a job yet. So it was like, I wanted to be more cautious about my spending. But anyway, back to this. So this was so they actually had one of this author that Bookish Princess mentioned, one of her books. Unfortunately, it was a hardback book, and I'm trying not to get that. And I almost bought a hardback book today, but I was like, nope. Let me stick to the paperback one. So I ended up not getting it. I did look and see if that particular book I had picked up did have a paperback version. It did not. And I also, in that case, was like, well, let me read this author's other book that I do have, and then maybe one day I'll buy that one. But anyway, it's Elizabeth Goudge is the author that Bookish Princess was talking about, and then I kept looking for her books, and I saw this one. Oh yeah, she's probably no longer. This cover is an older lady, so she might not be around anymore. She might have passed away already, but I'll have to look her up. And that's cool that it's the little sticker is this. I thought that was really cool. That's what the sticker that they have in here for who this belongs to. And it doesn't have that even pencil, but you would have to take off this thing first to see the name. Yeah. It's gonna ruin it, so I'll just leave it in there. But, the only problem is taking off the dust jacket of this book, it has nothing really on there. But, this is the only, so I went in and took it, and I probably will like it, so I'm gonna, again, read this description, so, oh, wow. It's only $8.95 wherever it originally was, the original purchase. Because even that's not, that's even less than what they charged. But I'm guessing they're thinking it's a hardback book, so they charge a little bit more. So it was $10, but, adding tax was $10.70. So, and I'm wondering if I should use cash, but you know what? I also went book shopping today, and used cash then. Against the pomp and pageantry of the turbulent 17th century England, Elizabeth Goudge weaves the poignant tale of Lucy Walter, the proud and beautiful secret wife of Charles II. Here is a subtle portrait of a deeply good and fascinating woman from her early childhood in a castle by the sea in Wales, evoked as only Elizabeth Goudge can evoke. Evoked as only Elizabeth Goudge can evoke the joys and pangs of childhood. To her, tragic estrangement from the king and her death in Paris at the age of 28, Lucy Walter lived the full of life, intense joy and equally intense drama. Miss Goudge portrays a brilliantly young love, almost too ecstatic to bear, equally moving to her characterization of Lucy, a spirited woman caught up in the cataclysmic wars and disrupted revolutions of a tumultuous era. London, the time of the Great Fire. Paris, when British royalty fled to sanctuary of the Louvre. Brussels and Hague, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Against this rich panoramic background, a master storyteller traces the life and loves of an extraordinary woman. The Child from the Sea is a superbly colorful and romantic historical novel. Alive. Oh. Come on. Okay. Again, I'm curious when my screen disappears. What you guys see. With brilliant Goudge cameos infused with a spiritual essence, rare in times. Yeah, so she's I think she's a very spiritual person, a religious person, because there's a lot of Christian themes explored in her books. Since 1936, Coward McCann has been Elizabeth Goudge's sole American publisher. In this time, her books have sold in excess of 12 million copies. Green Dolphin Street, which Bookish Princess talked about that one. Perhaps her best known and best loved work was made into a memorable film. And her list of bestsellers stretches back over the years to include such books as The Scent of Water, The Dean's Watch, The White Witch, My God and My All, Linnets and Valerians, and The 10 Gifts. It is with great pride that Coward McCann now publishes a major new novel by Elizabeth Googe, one that is in every way a landmark in a magnificent storytelling career. Okay, so yeah, the woman who wrote this might, it sounds like she might have passed away. Yeah, or she's just not. And she's a dog person. She was a dog person. Yay. See, as much as I love cats, I can never get a cat because my family members that are allergic to them. So I'm always going to be a dog person, I guess. Because, I don't want those family members to feel like they can't come to my house. So, I think that's, yeah. Oh, wait, nope. 2 more books. The books I got today. 2 more books. And then I am done. So I almost bought 3 books today, but I decided to get just 2 because 3 books would mean $12 instead of $8 because paperbacks are $4, and then if I got hardbacks are $5. So if I got that hardback, then it would have been a lot more. And I was trying to use cash this time, so I guess I couldn't use my card, but I try not to use my card too much. Although my mom might prefer me using my card so that, to show, so I can get, show I'm spending money, my own money, and not. So, but these are historical fiction. So this is one I considered once before. And I ended up getting it because I did look on Goodreads to look at my reviews about this book, and at the time I was thinking, well, it seems like people don't love this book, and that's kind of how I decide. I mean, it's a used book, so I'm not spending a whole lot of money. I feel more guilty when I pick up a book at Books A Million and I end up, not reading it like this other, where is it? Like, for instance, this book. That's why I'm avoiding reviews, because I don't want to be influenced and decide later, okay, I'm not interested, because I got this at the roast office. I mean at Books A Million, so I spent a little bit of money. Like, this would have been $4 if I saw it at the roast office, but it's $18.99, so almost $20. So like, I want to read it. Just, and I'll feel a little better if I read it. But once again, my mom reminded me, well, why did you spend the money if you ended up not liking them? You need to spend money on books that you're going to love. And in most cases, I do, And even though some of the books that are in the donation pile, it's not that I didn't enjoy them or didn't love, it's just I didn't love them where I want to keep them. So I'm going to read this because I spent the money. So, fortunately, it's not the first time. I've done that recently, a couple more times recently, so I'm trying not to make the same mistake twice. At least read it, even if I'm not loving it. But, so this was one I have seen. Like I said, I saw this one. Oh, Stephen Donaldson. I got mixed up with that guy. Stephen Donaldson. I was thinking it was that guy, but I got them mixed up because they have similar names. It's Neil Stevenson. And the good news is the first volume of a series of the Baroque cycle, so that's good. So at least I don't have to worry about, I always I don't like when I accidentally make the mistake of picking up the second book, not realizing that I have to buy the next book if I really want to read it. So, which that's why I'm keeping the Realm of Ash, because again, there was another BAM purchase. So, which, it was in the clearance section, to be fair. So that's so at least it was in the clearance section. So I didn't spend as much money on it. So I might not have to feel as guilty if I decide not to get the next book. But, yeah, I do agree that I need to be more selective. But, yeah, so this one sounded really fun. And there are multiple characters in this one. Well, it's a multi-perspective story. It's historical fiction during the Puritan times. And even though I just bought it, I don't necessarily remember. I have to explain it to you. Which, oh, this is a border sticker. So it proves how old it is because Borders was still around when this one was. I just realized this is HarperCollins or Harper Perennial. I don't know if that's connected. I'm assuming that's HarperCollins related. The good news is that the HarperCollins company strike is over, which I hope that means if it's over that the people that went on strike are getting the money they deserve. So let me just read the back because, like I said, even though I just bought it, I wouldn't remember enough to. Quicksilver is the story of Daniel Waterhouse, fearless thinker and conflicted Puritan, pursuing knowledge in the company of the greatest minds of Baroque-era Europe, in a chaotic world where reason wars with the bloody ambitions of the mighty, where catastrophe, natural or otherwise, can alter the political landscape overnight. It is a chronicle of the breathtaking exploits of half-cocked Jack Shafto, London street urchin turned swashbuckling adventurer and legendary king of the vagabonds, risking life and limb for fortune and a love while slowly maddening from the pox. Ooh. And it is a tale of Eliza, rescued by Jack from the Turkish harem to become spy, confidant, and pawn of royals in order to reinvent Europe through the newborn power of finance. A gloriously rich, entertaining, endlessly inventive novel that brings a remarkable age and its momentous events to vivid life. Quicksilver is an extraordinary achievement from one of the most original and important literary talents of our time. And I'm almost thinking about this is one I need to pick up now. Okay. And then the second one is, I don't know if it's historical or if it takes place in modern days and maybe talking about history. On the cusp of the millennium. Okay, so it's not that historical. It's the millennium. On the cusp of the millennium. I did read the back of this. I just don't remember because it's been a few hours. Jerusalem has become a battleground, the race for redemption. American journalist Christopher Lucas is investigating religious fanatics when he discovers a plot to bomb the sacred temple and mount. Which kind of makes me think of a little bit of Dan Brown's work, His Promises, except this is probably a little more literary than Dan Brown's work. At least it looks like it. A violent confrontation in the Gaza Strip. A race through riot-filled streets. A cat and mouse game. Oh yeah, definitely Dan Brown flavor. In an underground maze, as Lucas follows his leads, he uncovers an attempt to seize political advantage that reveals duplicity and depravity on all sides of Jerusalem's sacred struggle. Ambitious, passionate, and darkly comic, Damascus Gate is not only Robert Stone's biggest and best novel to date, but a timely and brilliant story of belief, power, salvation, and apocalypse. Okay, so yeah, definitely very, ooh, what's this? Sorry, I just found just a little ticket. So it owned was a. So he must have used this the guy must have used this as a bookmark. It's always interesting. It's always surprising to find little things like this, and he must use his ticket for a bookmark. And he was in Connecticut and Boston. Ooh, like Gilmore Girls. So that was really. Oh, so I didn't. That's funny. Okay, so there you go. So that is what's going on with my reading right now and the books I've recently acquired. What are you currently reading? If you feel free to share in the comments below. Is there any books you've recently purchased, or maybe books that you borrowed from the library recently that you want to talk about? Feel free to share with me in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye!